This Navigator series is the time for you to join and ask whatever questions you have. We can troubleshoot about your case. This is not the substitute for the advice of having your own attorney client relationship, and nothing about being part of the Navigator or talking to any of us lawyers here online will create that attorney client relationship. Also, keep in mind this is not necessarily confidential, and so don't share any information that you are not willing to share publicly. With that, thank you everyone for being here. Lindsay, you've got your camera on. Let's go to you first.
Hi.
Hi.
I just jumped on. What am I thinking? Are you just asking me? I've never been to one of these.
Okay.
Like
Why
what
don't we
I'm.
come back to you then, Lindsay?
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Tawny, how can I help today?
Hi, Billy. How are you?
Doing great. How are you?
Good. Okay, so I would like a little bit of feedback. Last time I was on, you helped me with a petition to enforce for child support arrearages. So that case is over and done with. It actually went pretty well. Um, and father was found in contempt of court. Um, I'm moving on to a new thing where currently at our last trial about a year ago, I lost the medical decision making for the child. The presumptive authority decision making was given to father. Um, I want to go back. It's been about a year now. I want to go back and I want to challenge that because um, we've had some issues over the past year. So I guess my question is, I've documented things that have happened over the past year, as far as like father's been treating the order as if he has sole medical authority. Um, the current regimen that the child is on has actually harmed his health and made it worse. And we lost our neurologist, and now we're back to another one. And I noticed that now with our new neurologist, he was our previous one, but in the medical records, there's two concerning things, which I guess I want to know if that is good evidence. Which one is, it's reported to the hospital that father has sole decision making medically, and that also that the previous neurologist had mentioned that the father should call CPS, which I'm assuming that would be towards me, right? Um, are those, and being kind of excluded from decisions, putting the child on multiple medications where they're all maxed out, but he's still not seizure free. I want to go back and touch on those things as evidence to see if those are good, I guess, and I'd want your feedback to see if they are. And then any advice you have about when the medical complexities of the child are so extreme, is there a possibility to petition to say maybe the 50-50 even parenting time and decision making is no longer in the best interest of the child? And what are the risks with that as well? I can't hear.
Thank you for telling me that. Tawny, this is a really complicated case. You've got a medically complex child and two parents who do not get along, who are not making decisions together. And so the first question is, can you objectively show that your child's health is worse and that he's not doing well?
Yes, so I do have evidence with that as far as he's sleeping during the day. He's had a medication like rash that's appeared on his face. There's a lot of lethargy. There's been more ER visits since dad's had final decision making in that. And he's currently on 3 medications, with one of those being a narcotic at max dose with
Wow.
no seizure freedom.
Oh
So
my gosh.
I had lost the I've always had final say in everything since we've gone to court in the event of a disagreement. And this past year is when I lost it because the child wasn't on anti-seizure medication, but I'd agreed to that before trial even started that we could start him. And I'm advocating for alternative therapy because the child has intractable epilepsy, which is medication resistant. But we just had an appointment with the neurologist, and I said, can we look at alternative treatments because we're on 3 medications, one being a narcotic at max doses, and he's still seizing. And the neurologist thinks that it would be a good idea to look at maybe like the diet, like a ketogenic diet. But his concern is that we are high conflict and the child spends a week on, week off with parents and doesn't know that the current court order is in the best interest of having that diet happen. Because both parties the household would have to run the same,
Yeah.
even just dietarily, and that's, we can't do that. So the neurologist has kind of ordered us or asked us to take pictures, videos of what's going on because we're reporting different things.
Interesting.
And I don't want to, I have a fear of going back to court because she already took it away from me, the judge did. And my concern is if I lose it all, the child's health has plummeted over the past year.
So
And
if one thing that I would want to do if I were your lawyer is I would want an expert witness to be involved in your case.
what type of expert witness?
Somebody who is an expert in epilepsy and can speak to all these different medications, the different treatment options, the different approach that you have versus dad has had, and the impact of what's happened over the last year, because this requires like medical analysis that I wouldn't want my client to just testify to that. I would want to put a medical expert on.
Okay, so try to find somebody who's a medical expert or an epileptologist to kind of speak to
Right.
maybe joint decision making,
Right.
and maybe 2 households is not in the best interest of the medical complexities that we're dealing with.
Right. Or, maybe these decisions have been detrimental, or, just you can show based on the evidence that dad has cut you out, but you can't, I would want somebody to testify that this is not, this continuing this way is not in this child's best interest and is medically dangerous because.
Okay, and you would recommend having that all kind of set before
Oh, yeah.
filing a petition and,
Right.
and going
Yes.
back to court.
Yes. I would have
Okay.
that. I would have that
And-
litigation strategy figured out first.
Okay, and then do you think that it also could be helpful to use the recent, contempt of court to strengthen my case as far as not listening, a pattern of not listening to court orders or not making the right decisions? I mean, should I bring those other little things in besides just the medical
I
stuff
wouldn't.
as far
I
as,
wouldn't.
like, no?
No,
You think
because
just going
it
after
muddies the
medical
water. Like if your position is my child is not served and is in danger, then who the heck cares, right? If that's your position, then that's the position, and that's the strongest position to take. And you would want to get crystal clear on that position so that the judge. That's how I would handle it.
Okay, and then the judge will also only care about what's happened since the last trial, right? Nothing before that, just the evidence in the past year, correct?
Well, unless we're comparing, the
Okay.
child's health under this order versus that order, then it's going to matter.
Okay, so maybe do get in a couple of things of how the child was doing academically, medically.
Oh, yeah.
When I had the final say versus now.
Yes. All right, Tani, I'm going to move on, but I'll come back to you if we have time, okay?
Thank you.
Mary Alice, how can I help today? I'm gonna move over to AI or Allie maybe. How can I help, Allie?
That's Al,
Hi,
actually.
Al.
Hello, how are you?
Doing great. How can I help?
I'm new to all of this. I just literally a few minutes before you came live signed up for the free trial.
Welcome.
One, yeah, I'm glad to be here. Glad to be here. One of my concerns overall, and I certainly don't want this to come off as offensive to any of the other audience or members that are here, but in this space of divorce and relationships in general, it's kind of hard to find outlets or resources that aren't really geared pro woman, for lack of a better term. As a man, I've looked into other resources, and it's generally been very much pro woman to the point that it was almost offensive sometimes to be a man in that group. So one of the reasons that I signed up for the free membership, I got an email from one of your other administrators with the offer just so I can find out that this is a more welcoming and friendly space for men. So that's just kind of a general concern I have
Wonderful.
towards getting help. But I feel comfortable just in your presentation thus far that that's a good thing here for a change.
I mean,
So,
we have the lawyers who are running this are from Modern Law. They're from my law firm, and we represent just as many men as we do women. And I don't see, at least in the courts, I believe you that some online groups are probably pro man or pro woman, but we're
mhm,
not. We're pretty darn neutral here.
wonderful.
Do you
That's
have any
wonderful.
legal question for me today, Al?
I do. I am newly separated from my wife. It's been about a month and a half, close to 2 months now, since I moved out of the marital home. We've been married for 29 years. And I guess one of my concerns is the potential of whenever settlement, whenever that time comes, having to put forth some sort of support or alimony.
Mm-hmm.
Um, to make a long story short, the reason we're in this position and traveling down this divorce path is because of her infidelity multiple
Mm-hmm.
times over
Mm-hmm.
years. And just to put it very plainly, the concept that after that I would end up in a position to have to pay some sort of support, it
Yeah,
really rubs me the wrong way to say the least. So if
definitely.
you could just kind of give me some insight on that, I'd appreciate it.
So it really depends on your state, Al. So in states like Arizona, the all of the family law issues are dealt with regards to fault. So somebody can cheat on you and then get alimony or child support from you, but that is not true in all states. So there are some states where if it's a fault state, and if somebody is cheating or engaged in infidelity, that they would no longer be eligible. So it's going to be important for you to look that up for your particular state.
Okay, okay, that's my primary
Where
question
are
and
you,
concern.
Al?
I'm in Virginia.
Virginia. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'll do a little bit of research while we talk to some other people and then come back and let you know, okay?
Oh wow, I appreciate that.
Thanks. All right, Mary Alice, how can I help today?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Oh, awesome. Okay. I'm good. So I've had a couple of incidents transpire. It started Tuesday. So Adriana, who's 9, Tuesday, she was reluctant to come with me and was like, I'm not going with you. Ultimately, she ended up getting in the car. That was just like a 4-hour visit. So I returned her that evening. Wednesday, yesterday, same thing on the onset. She didn't want to come with me, eventually got in the car. That was our overnight. So we get to my house and she asked for her iPad. I said, you'll get it after soccer practice. And then she took my phone without me knowing, went to her room, locked the door, and then called her dad. And I was like, what's going, so I told her, open the door, so she wouldn't open the door. I did the Find My iPhone on my watch,
Yeah.
and it beeped in her room, and she still continued to say she didn't have it. I eventually got the door open, and I was like, what's going on? She was just acting really outrageous, like she was trying to spray perfume in my eyes. She broke my bracelet. She was getting extremely physical.
Yeah.
So I told her, look, I'm gonna start recording you because I had a second phone. She didn't like that, so she ran from her room, took the phone that she had hid underneath her dresser, came to my room, locked the door, FaceTimed her dad again, and I can hear her dad coaching her to call the police. And he was exasperating the situation, telling her, "Do you feel safe?" He was just making it really, he was aggravating it. So she started crying, saying she didn't feel safe. So then she was asking him to call the cops, and he's I guess smarter than that, so he's not going to do that. So he was trying to get her to call the cops, which she did. So the cops come over, they assess the situation, they found out, there's no abuse here, and they told her, look, if it's not an emergency, you cannot be calling 911. This is a situation where you're with your mom sometimes, with your dad sometimes, and you have to come. And your mom, you need to respect her. So they kind of, lay down the law, the foundation, and said, look, this is unacceptable. So the whole time, so I guess he was FaceTiming, and anyways, he involved Emily, who wasn't even at the visit. She was with him, so she's aggravated. She's in distress. She's calling our older daughter, Alina, who's also now, what's going on, mom? And I'm like, look, Alina, I don't want to involve you. And she's like, well, if I need to talk to the cops, I will for you. It didn't get to that point. The cops left. They gave me an incident card. I called minors counsel right away because I didn't know what to do in this situation. I was really scared. I was really nervous. What's going on here? So, so I messaged him, my ex, last night and said, pretty much, this is unacceptable. You cannot be interfering with my time. And he pretty much premeditated it, Billy, because she doesn't even know his phone number, nor is it in my phone.
So
So
how did she get a hold of him?
I don't know if he wrote the phone number down and she put it in her pocket. Something happened where she had access to his phone number. So, in my opinion, it was completely planned to, interfere with the parenting time that I'm getting. And I don't know what's going on in that household, but things have been a little bit weird lately, and I've kind of caught on to that, and then this happens. So now I'm like, I'm gonna draft an email to follow up with my message to my nurse counsel yesterday and explain the situation. I'm hoping that she'll file something with the court. So my question to you is, if she doesn't, can I file? I mean, I know I can, but should I file something with the court, and what would that be?
Well, do you have a final order, or are you
No, this is all
still on a
temporary.
yeah, you're still on a temporary order? I wouldn't probably file anything because it's temporary and this is just evidence that you want
Okay.
to use. So, and your case is so complicated. It's like, I mean, you want to get to 50-50, right? That's
Right.
the goal, or have the kids more than that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the best thing you can do right now is just spend your time as a detective and as a therapist, basically being your kid's therapist, and building trust and building a relationship and gathering information so you can figure out what is going on in that house.
Okay, so as a next step, because we have a court date coming up for our assets, we don't have a court date coming up for the custody. How do I
Okay.
get the ball rolling there, and when should I do that so that we can get to some permanent orders that aren't the way they are today? Because
Right. Yeah. So, well, what's the plan on that? Do you have a status conference on that? Do you have a final trial
nothing,
date on that? Nothing.
nothing. Mm-mm.
Do you feel like your case is in a strong enough position where you can motion the court to set a final trial on the custody issues?
I mean, I think that I absolutely have more time with the girls. The girls they continue to align with their dad, so I don't know if that's going to have some huge implications on what the
Yeah.
judge decides.
Yeah,
And
I wouldn't want to. If I were you, I would want that alignment gone. So your whole focus of parenting time is building safety, security, trust, and breaking whatever BS is happening.
yeah, I've tried to do that, and I know I feel like it's going to take a lot longer because every time it gets to a healthy, stable situation, he causes something to dismantle that. So it's like it's constant. So I don't
But
know.
how?
I
But
guess maybe
how?
I'll know when I know.
Well, like how? What is he doing? Like how is he able to
Like
interfere?
like yeah, for instance, the incident that happened yesterday, I don't know how that transpired. I could speculate on what I think happened, but another incident is he's asking me and putting Emily in the middle, having Emily ask me to cover her tuition for her private school. And I don't make private school money right now. And
Mhm.
he has the business temporarily. And so he's putting me in a position to make it look to Emily like I'm not supporting her and
Mhm.
that he's the hero and always comes through for them and that I'm
Mhm.
just, and then she tells me, well, you want me to come and see you, but you don't want to help me. So she's using the money with the time that she's willing to give me because in her eyes, her dad is the one that always makes it happen, in her words. So it's things like that. And, I try to explain to her, like, maybe I can help with your uniforms. And I also, at the same time, he gets child support from me. So he's asking me to help with their tuition, help with the soccer league that he signed them up for that's really expensive, and then making me look like I'm not the supporting parent.
Yeah, I feel like you're in a position where it's it's really difficult because you're always told to keep the kids out of it, but you have teenagers and they're not out of it.
Hmm.
So they have to be getting like your truth in an age appropriate, honest
Yeah.
way. Because I think teenagers can handle it. I think children will respect you more when you are transparent with them, and that's what you need. You need your kids to respect you and trust you. So that means being real honest, I think.
Yeah, I think I do that and then I later regret it because I always think I'm not supposed to share this with them. But
I
I
know.
always somehow go down that rabbit hole with them. And I've explained to her, hey, look, your dad's financial situation and mine are very different, and here's
Mhm.
why. He has
Mhm.
the business, I don't have access to it.
Mhm.
So, and hey, by the way, I do give him child support. So
Mhm.
she was shocked to hear that because this whole
Right.
time you're thinking I'm not helping when I
Right.
really am, but he's not sharing that with you. So it's just a dirty game. And
It
I hate the
is.
way it feels, but
Right.
I know that in this situation, I probably have to do that so that they do understand because they're only getting one side of the story and it's very exhausting.
Well, and at some point they have to understand when they're being manipulated, and the only way for that to happen is for somebody to be the source of truth, and it's not going to be the other parent. It's got to be you.
Yeah, I get a lot of backlash because even though I'll tell them these things, they're like, "No, that didn't happen and that's not so." It aggravates our relationship because they are completely aligned with him 100% with I don't want to say maybe 5% me, 95 him. So,
I wouldn't
yeah.
ask for your final trial yet.
Okay. Okay, that's where I'm going to leave it, Billy, and I'll just continue to navigate this, I guess, as best I
All right.
can.
We'll talk to
I
you soon.
appreciate it.
Lindsay, how can I help? You're on mute.
Oh, I am.
Nope, you're good now.
Okay. My son is 4 years old, and I have all rights. There's no dad on their birth certificate. There's no acknowledgement of paternity. There's absolutely no court order, no child support, anything. And I had asked a question in the Modern Divorce group, Facebook group, and I believe you answered it back in February because I've been wanting to change his last name. His dad was in prison the first 2 years of his life, and after that, he worked out of state. So, I mean, he's only ever been in my son's life for 11 weeks. And it's been over a year since he's tried to make any contact. And so I wanted to change my son's name to my last name. And so since I figured out, like, when I asked you that question, like, I figured myself, like, I should have the right to do that because there's nobody else who has, no interested legal party. There's nothing like that. But I finally got the guts to do it, and I went and filed last Wednesday, and then I called on Monday to make my court date. I mean, I even filed an affidavit that said, like, just all the things I just told you. Like, there's no father, there's no interested party, there's never whatever. He's been with me his whole life, and the judge, I guess, or the commissioner came back and said I need to give him notice.
Yeah, does he
So
have paternity? Is he on the birth certificate?
no birth certificate, no acknowledgement of paternity, no. I mean, there's never been child support. There's no court orders anywhere. I mean, he lives in a different state. and he's requiring that I give him notice.
Okay.
So, and I'm not understanding that, because that I kind of want to say to him, like, how does somebody who has no legal rights to my son in any way, no medical, no religious, no education, he didn't have a right to choose the name, he hasn't been around. I have awful text messages when we broke up, and I was trying to, say, can we figure out something for the kids? And he said, no, you can have your kids this time. And I was like, okay, I mean, that's great. So that's what I did. And I haven't asked him. I mean, the one time I asked him for help, he said, F you, come fight me in court, and blocked me for, almost a year. So I just kind of ignored him. And then I was like, I just want to do it before my son gets school age and understands, I want him to have my daughter in my last name.
Yeah. So you have two options here. You can, try to fight the commissioner through the appellate process, or you can just give dad notice.
Yeah, that's like poking the bear. You know what I mean? I feel like that's the last thing. The last name thing is like one thing that might set him off. So I don't know. I would like to file for publication, but or motion to file for publication, but I don't know. I just feel like it doesn't make sense to me. And it upsets me. Like, I don't want to. I don't want to go after him and ask for his permission for something that he should have no say in. And I'm not understanding why he has a say.
Yeah. So then you can fight this legally, but you will have to hire a lawyer to write a legal brief for you, because what you're doing is you're arguing the law. So there needs to be research on the issue and who's entitled to notice when and who isn't entitled to notice. And then you have to file a legal argument telling the commissioner why they're wrong. And that never works when you're not a lawyer.
Oh, okay. But there's a chance if I do have a lawyer.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Okay.
If you get a lawyer who researches this issue and files something with the commissioner saying, hey, listen, you're dead wrong, you need to reconsider this because here's the law, you could get a very different result.
I mean, do you believe that would be the law, or can I not? Are you allowed to say, I mean, is that the law?
It would need to be researched. So,
okay.
The statute, I believe, is pretty broad. Notice to all interested parties. And so then that issue would need to be researched. Does this person count?
Okay. And then, so I did talk to Kendra, and since I did this, since I called, because I thought I was in the clear, or else I would have never done this. Because I even asked the clerk, I was like, okay, does this affidavit look good? I had it notarized, basically. And she's like, yeah, I don't see why it would be a problem. I was like, okay, because I don't want to go forward with this if I'm going to have to contact him. And she's like, no, you should be good. And so I went ahead and filed. So now I have a court date September 5th, but Kendra said that she got me on for pro bono day on the 10th. So now I'm trying to see if you could tell me maybe how to file a motion to continue or something, so I can at least get advice before I decide what I'm going to do.
Yeah. So you can file a motion to continue. There's a motion template that you can file online.
Okay.
And you can file a motion to continue.
Is that
but
just
in order to be successful in what you're doing, you'll have to hire a lawyer to do the research project and draft the argument.
Okay.
And so even that can't happen during pro bono day. But we have a legal clinic at Modern Law, and so law students could do this. They're a lot less expensive and certainly qualified to do the research and do the writing, and they're supervised by a very experienced licensed attorney. So it's something to think about.
I mean, the only thing that I can think of is try to figure out how to get away from this. The only issue I'm having is I don't want to perjure myself, obviously. But so I asked the lady because to do publication, she just said you have to show your failed attempts of contacting him. But I mean, I am in contact with his mom because she's in my son's life. But I'm the only way that her and my relationship work is we leave her son completely out of it. We focus on the kids. We've agreed not to speak about him. We don't talk about him, So, I mean, that's where the checkbox is, have you tried to contact all of his family and friends and everything like that? I don't want to, I want to be I've contacted everybody that I'm comfortable talking to, but I don't think that's going to work. Oh, okay.
Yeah. I'm
so
sorry.
Yeah, there's really no way. It's either try to fight it or just
try to fight it or serve him.
Okay. So I guess I'll have to fight it.
Yeah. Or you serve him. I mean, you could serve him via publication. And just because he is an interested party who's entitled to notice doesn't mean that his opinion trumps yours. So he
No.
did get notice. He could show up and fight you and still lose.
Yeah, but that just might set him off to come after me for more. I don't know. But at the same time, that's what I'm saying though. I can't serve him through publication without saying that I've tried every
Yeah.
attempt to contact him,
Right.
right?
That won't work. Right. You're going to have to serve him.
Okay. That's what I was worried about. I do not want to do that.
All right. Well, thanks, Lindsay.
Okay, thank you.
We'll come back if we have time. T, how can I help today?
Hello. Um, I guess I just want to give a little background to give you an idea of where I'm trying to go to get a little legal strategy. Um, so long story short, last year in 2024, me and the father was dating. He asked to establish custody while we were dating. We decided to do so. Um, but I ended up breaking up with him right before temporary orders hearing. And so during court, father was granted full parenting time with no contact with me based on claims that I was a danger due to like alleged mental health concerns, which weren't true. But during that time frame, he did allow, while we were waiting for final orders, he did allow my son to come with me with no issues until I asked him why did he lie to the courts. And then during final orders, the judge put us for supervised visits 2 hours a week, and I pay 120 a week to see my child for 2 hours a week. And the orders are based on the father lying in his testimony, and like his text messages were undated and so forth. But long story short, I got the forensic psychological evaluation that they told me to get in the custody order. It confirmed I'm a fit parent. I have my two other kids with me. Our child, the one that I'm talking about, is going to be 2 next month. But I've never lost custody of my other kids. I've never had a CPS case or anything like that. I've never had any concerns. And the psych eval confirmed that. So basically, during this time frame, I kind of messed up on the first. It's kind of what you say, Billy, when you say if you mess up on when you file something, it can lead to you waiting longer to get back into court. That's kind of what happened. I messed up on the parenting time filing because I got the psych eval. So just recently, I filed for parenting time, a modification of parenting time only under ARS 25411 NJ, and then I filed for enforcements because he's missed visits or won't answer text messages and stuff like that. So long story short, it's high conflict, and right now we're getting ready to go to enforcement court due to the missed visits. And I'm just wondering if I can, like, what should I do in enforcement court? Because father lies a lot. He misleads the courts. Lately, I don't even know if I'm doing my exhibits right, but when I file, my exhibits are like already at A through Z because everything he says in his declaration, I feel like I need to fight back because of the way he misled the courts in January with his lawyer. We're now both pro se, and I was pro se then. So with the enforcements, I guess with the 2 missed visits, he's more concerned when to negotiation court. He was more concerned of child support and so forth, meaning he didn't want to negotiate the missed visits. He didn't want to. They opened up for parenting time and legal decision making because the judge saw like basically my other filings and said, well, you guys figure it out. But he didn't want to do anything but discuss child support and basically said that instead of having supervised visits, because we know supervised visits are not necessary, instead of having supervised visits with the agency and paying 120 a week, I could move the supervised visits to my mom's house, still the same 2 hours, 1 day a week, and pay him the 120 towards child support. So he's not looking to give me my parenting time back. I had our child 6 days a week. I had our child in Head Start and everything else. He doesn't give a reason why he doesn't get child support back. He's telling them I missed my paying on child support and I need to pay the child support and I need to make sure it's coming out of my check and I need to make sure, but I'm basically paying over. I was supposed to pay 468 a month, but I don't want to miss a visit with our child. So I'm literally paying 728 a month. And I don't
Okay,
even
so
have it.
T, can I ask a couple questions?
Yes, ma'am.
So did you get a final order in January?
We got the temporary orders. We got the final orders in March.
Okay. In March of 2024, you got the final order?
No, that's when we were dating. We went to the temporary orders hearing in January. And I will say this, before the temporary orders hearing, a week before, him and his family got a ex parte order of protection with a whole bunch of allegations that are not true. And they used it to gain custody in court during the temporary orders.
Okay, so temporary orders in January. Do you have a final order or are you operating right now under a temporary order?
No, we got our final orders March because the temporary said no contact whatsoever, but father still let me have contact. The final order said 2 hours a week.
March of 2025?
Yes. So from January 2025, from March
No, hold
2025.
on, hold on. I have questions that are really important
Sorry.
for me to give you. No, it's totally fine. It's just okay. And then, are you in Arizona?
Yes, ma'am.
And when were you ordered to get this psych eval?
It was recommended for me to have my parenting time reconsidered during the final orders March 11th. It says it there.
Final orders recommended you get a psych eval. You've now gotten the psych eval. The psych eval has come back and it says you don't have there are no fitness issues.
None whatsoever, and I've never had any mental issues. They recommend that I do like dialect because I got a smart mouth, which is normal when you're dealing with someone who's lied to you and so forth. But other than that, yeah. And then father even knows that I have no mental issues. He admitted in text 2 weeks after trial where he won this thing. He told me that he never told the courts that I was suicidal, but he literally did. In his testimony said that I was suicidal. And that's how I lost our child.
Okay, so March 2025, you have this order. Here's why I'm asking. You can't ask for a modification for a year. And so it's now July, almost August. That's April, May, June, July, August. You have up to 6 months where you can ask the court to set aside a judgment for things like fraud. I don't know if you have fraud though. So you're procedurally in a tough situation because you can't ask for a modification yet.
Okay, can I ask a question?
Yeah, please.
So under the best interest in the modification law, when I was reading it, the ARS 25-411, under the section N and J, I would think that it would have qualified under it. Does it not?
So are you talking about, because I don't have the statute memorized, are you talking about where it says you can ask for a modification after 6 months if the current parenting plan is not being followed? Is
Let
that
me
what,
pull it up real quick on my phone. It's more so saying from my memory that if it's in the best interest of the child and I'm only asking for parenting time and not legal decision making, I can go forth and ask for that.
no,
Trying
you
to pull it up
can't.
now.
You
No?
can't. The only way to get a modification is if there is an emergency or if, let me see, I'm looking at it right now. The court may modify an order denying when the modification was. Yeah, no, that does not. Okay, so that provision does not negate the 1 year rule.
And if they put it in the order, if it can be reconsidered at that time, it still doesn't negate the rule?
I mean, it doesn't negate the statute. So even a court order saying, which is why it's really weird that a final trial would tell you to go get a psych eval, because usually you do that before a final order
Right.
because of exactly what has happened. So the court thought that you were mentally ill to the point where you couldn't take care of your child. You went and jumped through the hoops the court wanted to. It came back and said you can take care of your child, and yet you can't file for a modification for a year unless your child is in an emergency situation, and they're not. You just have their dad sucks.
Yeah. So I
So
was, oh wow.
yeah. So I think what you have to do, which sucks because I know you've got a 2-year-old. I think what you have to do is focus on status quo, gathering evidence, and putting yourself in the best position to file for that modification in March. I don't think you should overpay child support. That's not going to impact your parenting time or legal decision making case.
Right. I'm not trying to overpay it. It's just that we haven't been able to go back to court and he's refusing to change the supervised visits no matter what. Like he knows that I'm not at harm or anything like that. He literally is just doing this to harm me, to see me in a bad predicament.
That is going to hurt his case later on. So it may make sense for you to have an attorney reach out to him and start kind of officially negotiating on your behalf to create evidence. So regardless of whether he agrees or disagrees, if you have a lawyer going to him creating evidence saying, hey, here's this psych eval, here's what you said, you know that supervised visits are unnecessary, like, let's get this worked out. And you have him saying, no, 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 pay me more. When you get there in March, it will make a difference.
Okay. And that's more so not the legal clinic side of things, but with the Kindred and everybody, right?
The legal clinic can help.
They can do it for me.
They can do it. They can write the letters. They can negotiate on your behalf, as long as there's, yes, they can.
And then should I still reach out? They're open tomorrow, right?
We're open tomorrow. Today's Thursday. Yeah, we're open tomorrow.
They do it tomorrow. Okay.
Mhm.
Can I reach out? Can we still do it even though we have enforcement hearing on the 15th?
Yes, because the enforcement's for a different issue. So you can simultaneously work on your custody case while you also address your enforcement issue.
Okay.
All right. Thank
I'll
you,
come back
T.
with the enforcement questions. Thank you.
Okay. Let's see. Carrie or Car or Care.
That's my mom. It's Care. Yeah, you got it.
Okay, so your mom's just watching?
There I am.
Okay, so then are you Shane? Is that your name?
Yeah, I'm just being edgy. But yeah, we're in this call together, and
Okay. Shane,
she's
how
the
can I
one
help
with
you?
most of the questions. I mean, right now I'm just, I guess, thinking where we're at in the case. I'm trying to reach an agreement. She's not moving an inch in either direction. She moved all the way to Baghdad from Goodyear, and not the foreign country, Baghdad, Arizona, like north of Wickenburg. And she didn't give the courts any notice, didn't give me any notice. Yeah, moved almost 200 miles away from me. And so we've just been fighting on her. And I really think she's trying to avoid going to court, but she's not moving on any of this stuff. So, we've probably gone back and forth with lawyers, spent about $15,000 just trying to come to an agreement. And she's already in contempt. She is, she didn't give anybody notice. She is very unilateral in all of her decision making with the child. And
Say that again.
there's a lot of background context, but all those things aside, I just really don't understand why she wouldn't take these deals that we're offering, because I only want 3 weekends, a month, because of what she did. I mean, I wanted every other week, just 1 week on, 1 week off.
Well, why are you making deals? Why?
Because I really, none of us are trying to go to court just because.
Why? Like, listen, one problem is when people are afraid to go to court, they enter into bad deals and they let other people hold them hostage. So you've got your ex holding you hostage because you want to make a deal. You can't make a deal without two people willing to make a deal. If I were you, I would set trial. Go to trial.
Yeah, we have a trial date, but we're still trying to work this out in the background, because I'm trying my best to be reasonable and just make anything work. She's already totally broken the rules and broken the boundary exception.
You cannot out nice somebody who disrespects you, disregards the law, moved your child away. I think you're going far too easy on her. And changing your strategy is going to make her a lot more willing to negotiate. Because right now you're just kind of a pushover.
Yeah, no, I mean, that was a big problem through this, because I am a pushover. I care about her very much, even though she's gone and done other things with her life. I had a child with that woman, and she is very volatile. And I know that's not my problem, but she has my kid a majority of the time. And I already know that she makes it Nova's problem when she's upset. And I do have some evidence of that in my back pocket, but I don't want to use that on her. Like, that's all stuff that, it's like, I get that I have the silver bullet. It's just like, God, it's kind of hard to pull the trigger on that.
He just
When
wants to maintain a really cordial a relationship with her, a really good co-parenting relationship with her, because he's afraid that she's going to take it out on his daughter.
Okay, you're just letting yourself being held hostage. I don't know what to tell you. Like,
Well, now
you
we've
have
run out of
somebody-
money. Now
What?
we've run out of money. So
But you
that's,
can represent
Let her
yourself.
come.
You can represent yourself. So this woman knows that you're going to let her get away with anything, that you have evidence that you won't use. She's pushed you out of your daughter's life, and you, no matter how badly you want to have a positive co-parenting relationship, if she has no respect for you, you're not going to have a positive co-parenting relationship. So in my opinion, you have to set boundaries.
That's what I've had to, I agree with you. I've had to chase her across the state. I had to, bring her up short and do enforced visitation, and she manipulated me then, but blah, 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 same old sad story.
The
It's
first
just,
You can represent yourself. You can do a good job. You can go into court and make your case, and the court will tell her to move back. Likely. I mean, I can't predict the outcome, but likely, based on what you've told me, it is very possible that the court says, you get your bottom back here.
well, that's what I'm honestly hoping for, but,
But
that
it
would be
cannot
best
happen
case
if you
scenario.
won't ask. If you don't
Well,
ask, it cannot happen.
Well, that's where we're kind of at with the cases, and we've been waiting to talk to you specifically to try and, because we've been leaning towards just going for the throat in court. I've just been a little gun shy because I really would rather work this out, but this helps.
It's been a year. A
What's
year.
that?
It's been a year we've been talking with the lawyer, and they gave us a final. We went back and forth with many, many different settlements. He even went down to 8 days a month. He wants 50-50, but he went down to 8 days a month because she was going to give him summer. She took all summer away. She wouldn't give him any summer this last summer. She went and she just had another baby with her new husband, and so she just
Using
wants
that for
to,
leverage. But
yeah. So we're gonna meet tomorrow. So actually, we have an appointment with you tomorrow,
Oh,
and he's just afraid to represent himself in court because, especially against another lawyer, and because his ex lies. The first time we went to court, she lied about everything. She got away with it. So our fear now is that if we let her get away with it this time, she'll move here all the way to California because that's where his family lives, and they want to move to California.
her new husband.
Her new husband, yeah.
okay. Well, I look forward to meeting with you tomorrow and talking through this. Thank you for coming today. You are in a tough situation, but I believe in you and your case.
No, I really appreciate it.
No problem.
All
All
right.
right. Deborah, how can I help today?
Hi.
Hi.
Hi. So I don't know if you remember my case where my son's not having anything to do with me, and dad's just not really helping with the enforcement. He's 15. I filed the contempt petition. We had the conference last Wednesday. Last Wednesday morning, his attorney dumped all these new filings on me. So they filed a response to my petition to enforce the parenting time and a counter petition for modification of parenting time. So they're trying to turn the contempt hearing into a modification of
Yep.
parenting time. Can they do that?
Well, no, because you have the right to respond to a modification, and you have the right to due process on your modification case. So no, you can't just convert
Right.
a contempt to a modification.
That's what I thought. So can I just file a motion to dismiss this counter petition?
Yep.
Okay, so I'm gonna file that. How many days do I have? Because it's been 8 days now. Is it 10 days I have to file a
It's
motion?
10 days to respond to a motion. It's 20 days to respond if you've been served with a petition. So this is a petition, so you have 20 days.
I have 20 days for
Excuse
the
me.
petition, counter petition.
Yeah, 20 days.
Okay.
And your
All right,
response should say, it's probably not a motion to dismiss. It's a response to the underlying modification claims as long as has it been a whole year since your last order?
Well, that's my other question. So, so we got final orders last August. The orders came out on August 20th, but they were filed on the 22nd. So if I'm gonna file a petition for modification, or they are, can they file on the 20th or the 22nd when they were filed?
Whenever it was file stamped, whatever the stamp says, whatever the stamp date says.
Okay, so
Are
that
you
was
here
the
in Arizona?
22nd. So, yes.
Okay.
And my contempt hearing is the day before, August 21st.
Yeah, no, your response should say, that you object to the consolidation because you need
Okay,
the appropriate time to respond, do discovery. You have to have the ability to go through a modification case. You can't just spring that on you.
okay. So put in there, I object to it. And then what was the other thing you said? I have to have time to prepare?
Yeah, right. To respond, to do discovery, to go through mandatory disclosures, to take depositions if you want to. I mean, you
Okay.
get due process on the case.
Okay, so discovery, what else?
This is being recorded and available to you online. So
Okay,
you'll be
great.
able to
I'll
you'll be
review
able to
it
go back
after.
and go to the exact spot because
Okay,
I know
so
it's
I just
hard to
have a,
take notes.
yeah, so, hang on 1 second, so. Okay, so last time I talked to you about the fact that my son doesn't want to, come for visitation, they keep hiding behind the fact that he's 15. You had suggested to me that I ask the court to order a TI.
Yeah.
My old attorney that I talked to like 6 months ago said, recommended I ask for a counselor that's covered under my health plan. At a contempt, my question is, at a contempt hearing, can they even order a TI? Because a TI has to report to the court,
They
and
do.
so, but the contempt hearing is just like a one-time thing, right? It's
Well,
not gonna,
so, okay. First of all, contempt remedies are broad. So
yeah,
the judge has broad discretion to order whatever remedies needed. So I think that
yeah.
helps. And they just filed a petition to modify. So you do have an open case. So yes, they can order a TI.
Well, they haven't filed, they have a counter petition to modification. They haven't
That's a
filed,
petition
like,
to modify.
oh, okay, but I gotta get that dismissed.
You're not
So
you're not getting it dismissed. You're just objecting to the consolidation.
objecting to the consolidation.
Yeah, unless you
So
want to
is that,
dismiss it because it's been filed prematurely, because it has. It's been
I
filed
wanna
before.
dismiss it. I
Okay.
wanna dismiss it because it's premature.
Okay.
So what should I do about it? The TI? Should I ask for a TI?
Yes, you desperately need a TI. The older
Okay,
your child gets, the less the less influence you have, and the
right.
less influence and control that the court will use on your behalf. So if you
Okay,
want
and
the
I'm
court to
afraid of,
help you, you have to do
yeah,
it immediately.
okay, okay. So
Okay,
how
Deborah, I'm
would
gonna go over to
we,
Cass because we just have a few
yeah,
minutes, but I'll come back to you,
okay,
okay? All
okay.
right. Cass, how can I help?
Hi, Billy. It's Carrie Ann. I'm one of the OG members.
Hey, Carrie.
Hey. So I'm back, even though my divorce has been finalized, but he's still harassing me. So they're I'm not represented currently, but he, I guess, rehired his attorney, and they sent me a letter saying that I'm in violation of several things, which are, it's not accurate, but so I'm drafting a letter to respond, and I just want to get your thoughts on a few things. So one is the extracurriculars. Our stipulation was written up in a hurry, so they did not lay out that extracurriculars needed to be agreed upon. So he's made unilateral decisions to sign them up for things, even though without consulting with me, and then even though I objected, and I said, and some of it also intrudes on my parenting time. And I said, okay, if you want to sign them up, I guess I can't stop you from doing that, but you're going to have to pay for all of it. So of course he's coming after me for the money. And it's not so much about the money, but just that I don't want him to have this unilateral, because it's, continuation of his abuse and control. So is this something that I would need to have a modification for, or can I approach them to say, let's just sign something now saying that it needs to be agreed upon, or how would you handle that?
I would handle it by saying if you sign somebody up unilaterally, the cost is on you.
Okay, great. So
I would just do exactly what you've done. And then whether or not you allow your kids to participate during your parenting time is up to you. You can decide, yes, they like this. Yes, they want to do it. Send them. It still doesn't mean you have to pay for it because he signed them up unilaterally.
Okay, great. Yeah. And one of them, even my son asked to discontinue, and he talked him back into it, because he wants to have that control. I mean,
you can make this decision on a week-to-week basis. You can say, okay, your kid wants to go this week, take him. Kid doesn't want to go next week, you decide, okay, you get to stay home. It's your call.
Okay, I love that. Excellent.
I know.
Okay, and then, this is one of the benefits of him not living here anymore. And this is, I'll just make this quick. This is just a bizarre thing that he's stuck on. Again, it's just all about the control. So he wanted, in the divorce agreement, he wanted to get the crystal, china, and silver from the wedding, which I know I know he wants to sell it, but I don't want to be bothered with it. So I was like, fine, I don't care about that stuff. So he took the china and the crystal, which was in the basement. He had previously taken the silver. We only had a few place settings, but he's claiming now that I have it, that I've hidden it, I'm withholding it from him, and that it's a full 12-piece place setting, which it was only 2 or 3 place settings, and that right now that would be worth a lot of money. So he's harassing me about it, and I think it's some sort of weird ruse, because he refused to give me back the key to he has an extra key to my car, and so he's like, well, if you're not giving me the silver, I'm not going to give you the key to your car. Anyhow, but they keep harassing me about it. So should I say, can I demand that they produce some substantiated evidence that or they have to drop this false allegation? How would you handle that?
So he's saying that there's more in the basement that doesn't exist?
Yeah, and he was supposed to, he moved a lot of stuff out also that he was not supposed to take.
Yeah.
According to the agreement, I'm supposed to pay him to buy him out of the contents of the house, and he was only supposed to take his personal clothing and his personal effects, and anything else he was not supposed to take. So he took a whole bunch of other stuff, which I have a list of, because I'm also fighting that I shouldn't have to pay him the full amount when he took a whole bunch of stuff, right?
Totally.
And he threatened me. He was supposed to have me be present. He locked me out of the basement, and he was intimidating. I had to have 2 other people present with me for his move out to protect me from, and he was mad, and I had to change the locks right away. He was planning to come back when he knew I wouldn't be home and steal more stuff. But anyhow, so he took the china and the crystal out of the basement. He's saying the silver wasn't there, so that I must have hidden it. But I'm thinking he took it a long time ago, because he used to start hiding things at his mom's house, who lives a few blocks away. So now they're literally threatening to take me to court over this freaking silverware. It's so ridiculous.
I mean, I think I would let them. And then your response is, okay, but you took all these things out of the house you weren't supposed to. And a judge is just going to say, at least here, a judge would just be like, get out.
Right. That's what I want to say to his lawyer. Are you kidding me? The judge doesn't want to deal with this BS. And I'm going to tell the judge, look, I offered to settle this between us, not waste the time. Because even in the reason the thing was so rushed, we had trial starting the next day, and they made us sit in this tiny hot room for 7 hours. We were not allowed to leave until we walked out with basically a
Oh,
final
agreement.
agreement.
Yeah.
And so, so I forget where I was going with that. But so the reason I had to give in to agree to pay him for like the 20-year-old beat up furniture that I have in my house is because they went in to ask the clerk, how would the judge rule on this? And she said, the judge doesn't deal with tchotchkes. Like all my furniture is considered tchotchkes. And so she would just order the whole entire contents of my house sold at auction. And we would have to split the cost of movers to move everything out of the house, which would cost, at least $5,000 each. So I had to give in on this. But like to bring this back to a judge when she wouldn't even want to rule on it.
Totally.
Right?
Totally. Let him do it. And then, he's the one who wouldn't let you down in the basement. So he's the one who had sole control over these items.
Yes.
Had you been there when he was looking through it, then you would know if the silver was missing. But you can't verify it because he breached the terms of the agreement. That's another great reason for the judge to kick it out.
And he purposely took things when he knew I wasn't going to,
Yeah.
or overnight while I was sleeping. Like I woke up one day and he had ripped out the stereo surround system out of
That's
the
awesome.
walls and the ceiling of my living room, which
That's
clearly
awful.
is not a personal item.
No.
Okay, great.
All right.
Thank you
Good to
very
see you, Carrie Ann, and we'll
Thank you.
talk to you soon. Deborah, I do want to come back to you and just make sure I answer that last question you had before we wrap up today.
Yeah, my question is just how would we follow up with the TI? If the TI has to file a report with the court, if I have a contempt hearing, that's kind of like the end of that issue, right? Isn't the judge going to say, look, dude, you're going to have to give her parenting time or whatever he says, like, because are they going to just leave the TI open-ended and Mom, you work with the TI and let's just hope it gets resolved and the court's not going to revisit again?
You're going to have to open a case. Either the contempt's going to have to stay open or you're going to have to file a petition in order for the TI
Okay.
to continue. But you need the TI.
Okay.
So whether it's under the
Right.
contempt case or it's under a modification case,
Yeah.
either way, you have to have a TI because otherwise, like, once your kid hits 16, like, it's over.
My kid is only 6 months, is in September, 6 months from 16.
Yeah, so you need to move forward now with TI
Oh my God.
aggressively.
So what if, when my son's 16, if he says I'm not going to Mom's, the court just says what?
There's
Takes
no
my parenting
magic
time away,
age.
or
There's no magic age,
Uh-huh.
but in my experience, once your kid hits 16, the court has, and the other parent, just has a lot less control over this child. And
Right.
the child isn't a party to the court. So what's going to happen is the court is not going to be able to hold dad in contempt for the actions, the independent actions of a 16-year-old. They may already make that the court could even say that now, could say, I'm not holding dad in contempt for the independent actions of a 15-year-old. Mom, you got to figure your stuff out. In which case, the best bet is TI.
right. But what do I do about like false allegations that I can prove? Like they're brainwashing my kid. Like the court's gonna just let this keep happening?
Well, it's not
That my
exactly
son is-
contempt because contempt is
Right.
very narrow. Contempt is
Yeah.
the specific willful violation of a specific court order. So his bad
Right.
behavior
Right.
doesn't equal contempt. And the court's ability to intervene here is pretty small. So you have to kind of take, you have to use the tools available to you to get the best possible outcome.
Right. All right. I'm gonna have to come in for a consultation, whether it's the legal clinic, does that just go in the summer or is that all year
Nope.
round?
All year round, staffed all year round with law students.
Okay. Okay, and if I decide to just hire an attorney, like this guy is a major narcissist, do you have someone there in the firm who's very aggressive and will like be aggressive with dad and his attorney?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, many of our attorneys are excellent with narcissists. One of the things I like to figure out is who's the other attorney on the side, who's the judge on the case, and then
Right.
make a really strategic decision because we have so many lawyers. We can figure out,
Yeah,
the best strategy. But anyway, thank you
Okay, I'll
all for
make a consultation. Thank you.
thank you all, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Thanks, Billy.